This is your lab prep for our animal behavior lab dealing with animal movements. Specifically, we are looking at kinesis and taxis. Kinesis is a type of movement in which the animal does not show a specific sense of direction toward or away from a stimulus. It simply speeds up its movement if it's somewhere it doesn't like, and it slows down its movement if it is somewhere that it does like. So if you lifted a log and saw a bunch of critters, they just start moving around like crazy. That's kinesis, and what they're hoping is that their crazy fast movement will eventually just get them out of this bad situation they just found themselves in. And if they found themselves in a good situation, they will slow down. Taxis is when, if we lift up the log, the critter under the log says light over here, dark over there, I'm going to the dark. And they have a specific sense of direction. Okay? Now, we will be testing basically what conditions some little critters seem to prefer. Do they show taxis toward a stimulus or away from another stimulus? We will be doing that using a choice chamber. Okay, this is really just two petri dishes that have been taped together, and a little opening has been cut between them right here so that critters from one side can move to the other. To prepare the chamber, basically what you will need to do is you will get two little filter papers, but they are just a little too big to fit nicely in the dishes, so you will need to trim them with scissors, and I've already trimmed these, and they should just lie down or lay down in the chamber. Now, I recommend that you may want to take some tape and just place it at a few points underneath, and don't make it so big and bulky that it actually lets your paper kind of get elevated. You want it to be really flat, because what we're trying to avoid by tacking it down this way is we don't want the little critters to be able to crawl under the paper, and they will do that if they can. So what we want is for them to not be able to crawl under the paper. We want it really flat and snug. And with the tape now, we have to be sure that they can't get under the paper, because if they can, they're going to get stuck to the tape, and it's going to ruin their day. So please, if you want to tack it down, that's not a bad idea to help keep them from crawling underneath, but tack it down really carefully. So initially, our goal is for everyone to do one trial of this initial lab, which is just determining if our critters, which are mealworms, okay? I don't know if you can see these, if I hold them up to you or not, how that's working out, but little mealworms, and part of your homework is to perhaps do a Google of mealworms and see what exactly mealworms are, what the kind of conditions they like, what their lifespan is, and so on. Just get a little more information about them so you can hypothesize with a little more knowledge about what conditions they might seek out. Your first treatment is going to be a control treatment in which both sides are exactly the same. You will take 10 mealworms on each side, so 20 altogether total. Nice big sample size is good. So you will take and count out 10 mealworms, and I'm just going to do a few here. Let's say I do 1, 2 on this side and 1, 2. You will do more than that. You will do 10. And these little guys are going to kind of look like they're dead because they've been in the refrigerator. You want to make sure you don't overload it with the little bedding material they live in, because that's going to interfere with your experiment. You want, this is your control treatment, both sides should be exactly the same to the best of your ability. Now, you will observe these guys in this control treatment for 10 minutes, and you will simply, every minute, actually I believe it's every 30 seconds. So every 30 seconds you're going to record how many is on side A, how many is on side B. 30 seconds. How many on side A, how many on side B. How many on side A, how many on side B. And of course you will record that you had 10 and 10 to start. Okay? And our goal is to determine if, all of them prefer side A, all of them prefer side B, or there appears to be no preference at all. In the control, we would think there would be probably no preference. Okay? So, that would be the control treatment. Then you're going to do another treatment, but this time you are going to wet one side and keep the other dry. So our independent variable then is going to be wet versus dry. Alright, so you'll have some water and a dropper, and you're going to just saturate one side. Now make sure we're not having a little mealworm swimming pool, because they really wouldn't like that. We don't want any little mealworms doing the backstroke. We just want it nice. We want it saturated, so this is completely wet. It's sticking to the plastic, but it's not, there's no puddles anywhere, and that's pretty much what we want. Okay? And then again, you put 10 on one side, 10 on the other, same procedure, everything the same, and you're counting as you go. You might have to be a little ranch hand. They might try to crawl over the side or something, so we're going to, knock them back in with the brush or whatever if you have to. If you're really having trouble, you can, the lids do not fit down because they're connected together. So you can lay the lids kind of on top like that to keep them from crawling out of the side if that's starting to become a problem. In fact, that might be just a good idea to start out that way. So, think about as you are thinking of the setup, what is the independent variable? Just told you actually, what are we measuring as the results, your dependent variable? What things should be held constant? What is your control treatment? How many trials are we having of this? What's the nature of your mealworm little guys? What kind of result would you expect from this, given what they do, what they like, based on any research you're able to find? And that's going to be our lab for next class period. So just be prepared to come in and get rolling with that. Okay? Thanks a lot, and I will see you on Wednesday.